I do know that there'll be some folks that are will be joining us. So welcome to the Downtown Brockton Association's monthly meeting. For those that are new, we do hold them on a monthly basis. They are hybrid because it makes it easier for folks, and particularly during this weather where not only is there an air quality alert, the haziness that's out there from the fires, but on top of that is the heat. And but thank you all for joining, and particularly I want to just give a shout out to Al DiGirolamo from Senator Michael Brady's office. So Senator's office is always helpful and engaging. So with me here in this big spacious small conference room, I have Alicia Bonilla. She is an intern from the Benefit of Mass Hire Greater Brockton. Mass Hire Workforce Board. I should know that since I'm on their board. But for those that may have benefit from a young adult interning, she is here working with Megan Fournier from my office, but working on a number of things, including just a whole array of things, from just getting to know some things that can't get done in the office, but giving some special projects as well. So please join me in welcoming Alicia. We have Alyssa, Alicia, and Elise. So I know Alicia because I love Alicia Keys, and so and now we love Alicia. So welcome, Alicia.
Thank you.
Brockton High?
Yep.
Correct. And what year are you?
I'm a junior.
A junior. So so she's getting some work experience. So as anybody, I highly recommend adopting that program. So thank you. So on the agenda, as Megan has up, I want to just say the DBA membership is the first and foremost. We have been getting some along the way, but it's been slower than expected. I want to just say there's a couple of thank yous to those that are members. You know, it really does make a difference for us. There is, for those who don't know, there is no, we have no staff. We have a bit of a budget, but that budget goes toward the holiday parade for the most part. We had not been asking for memberships like our counterparts from the Montello and Campello. My feeling had been because with COVID, there's been not a lot that had been able to be done, but we have been ramping it up with a new website, our social media. If you don't follow us on both of those and also our website, I really would highly recommend if you do. So while it is not a mandatory, it is highly encouraged. So there's two levels, $50 and $100. And from my perspective, what you get from that is really sending information out in a group to all of the property owners as well as the stakeholders in downtown. So Megan has up on the sheet. So when Trinity Financial had their phase 2 ribbon cutting, they had an offer to the Downtown Brockton Association, along with some other organizations, a flyer to be put out for their residents about what is going on and how it's going to be happening. So I was grateful to Jonathan Brommer and Trinity Financial for that opportunity. And so please consider becoming a member. So that's my, it will always be on my agenda until we get more memberships, but and Megan, I know that what we do is on our website, for those that are members, we have the website will be like in an on position. So that it's one of the benefits that what we're looking to do. So on top of that, we have, thank you, Megan, for bringing that up. We have a highlight of one of our newest members, the Brockton Pharmacy. We have Frederick, was just there today getting some cards. If you are interested in binding cards, they've got a great selection, and I think I'm probably their only customer, so don't buy me out. But I love the fact that they have this ability not only to serving the community in terms of prescription, but also they have some other amenities as well, whether it's ibuprofen or hairspray or things of that nature. So we're highlighting the Brockton Pharmacy. While I was there, was able to ask about some of the things that are going downtown. Most of their customers are walk up. They come from the residents in the area. They haven't really been challenged by the road closures like so many on Legion Parkway have. But that, again, other than he coming in and out of work, he did say most of his customers are in fact are people that walk to his. So please join me in welcoming Brockton Pharmacy to our members as a DBA. So thank you, and thanks for the clap, Amanda. So next on the agenda, so let me, before I go on, we will be doing member highlights like this as we go through our different members. So there may be not just one, but there may be several members as we come along the way. So last week, if you remember, I thought I had it in here. It might have been in the email that I sent out. We were able to have 2 members be highlighted and really informative about the work that they do. It was Luminosity, and help me remind me who else it was. I know, we're all drawing blank. I'm getting old and it's tired and it's all been a long week already. So without further ado, I want to move on to our agenda. And I had the great opportunity to meeting with Madeline for coffee at the Elvera's last week, and was just inspired by the program that we met about. And finally, what I'd like to do is just to have Madeline unmute herself. And I believe that, Megan, we have the PowerPoint presentation that Madeline's going to review. So Madeline?
Yeah, sure. And actually, I don't, if it's okay with you all, I really don't need the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
I actually have a flyer I would like to share, though, if I would have the ability to share my screen.
Yeah, did you share that with Megan in advance?
I had sent it in an email. I don't know if Megan was copied on that email.
Let's Megan, if we can just make Madeline a temporary host, that would be great. Oops, I do that.
Mary, because you're the main host, you just need to make, okay.
Madeline, you're a co-host now.
Awesome, thank you.
So Megan, I think you need to stop sharing. There we go.
Fabulous, thank you so much. The other presentation just would have taken too long to go through, so I really wanted to just focus on the Building Bridges program. So good morning, everyone. My name is Madeline Carnabucci. I am a leader with Mutual Aid Brockton, which is a project of Brockton Interfaith Community. Many of you may know Mutual Aid as having come up during the pandemic. Mutual Aid was really born of the pandemic and mobilized into action to helping, some of the most vulnerable members of our community with assistance, with gift cards, with food, with rent and utilities assistance. Brockton Interfaith has always been relationship focused. And we had the opportunity last year, the American Immigration Council put out a call for projects. And they were specifically looking for projects that focus on bringing people together of many diverse and many different backgrounds, sharing power equally and building relationships with one another. And we thought, wow, what an amazing opportunity this type of community sharing and bridge building, it is really in our DNA. So we threw our hat in the ring, and we were proud to say selected as one of 12 organizations nationwide out of hundreds of applicants to participate in what they have referred to as the inaugural class of the Belonging Innovation Fellowship Lab through the Center for Inclusion and Belonging with the American Immigration Council. Really just a great honor, not just from an organizational perspective, but I really feel like the folks who chose us saw something really special in Brockton. Saw something really special in the diversity and the number, just the sheer number of different cultural backgrounds that our city brings to bear. And so as we were talking about the project, my colleague and I, her name is Brittany, she was unable to join the call today. But throughout the past, I'd say 9 months, we've been on calls with different academics, people who really focus on creating activities that bring people together of different backgrounds in a sustainable way, to really forge and create bonds. And it's so fascinating. The research has shown that when people get to know each other through co-creation, through building a project together, and Mary, I'm sure that your folks can attest to this in things like putting together the holiday parade, or any number of activities where people from different backgrounds have consistent contact with one another over a period of time. What happens in those cases is fear decreases, prejudice decreases, biases decrease, and trust increases. And even more importantly, the inclination to engage civically increases. And I think these are all just amazing things that we would want for our city. So all that being said, what kinds of activities do we think will lead to this type of engagement? We settled on the concept of food sharing, where we had done a lot of food distributions in the past. We thought it would really be ideal to bring people together of different backgrounds around the age-old concept of breaking bread. When you sit down and share a meal with somebody, a lot of the fears tend to decrease. I think people share stories, as particularly over food, talking about what their heritage is. Maybe it's sharing a recipe that's been handed down for generations. And our idea and thought is to have this series of communications and community conversations over a period of several months, in keeping with the research that has shown it really needs to be more than a one-time event. And it's that consistent contact and communication that really brings people together. We were able to have an introductory brunch at the Stacey Adams Cultural Center on July 8th. It was very well attended. We had about 30 people there. We had planned for 30, we had 30. And I'd say about half of those folks were interested in continuing with the project. And a good portion of those were interested in either cooking for or hosting a community meal at their home. I think I saw Cindy on the call here. Cindy attended. It was great to have her there. And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen, just because I like to be able to see the folks that are on the call and that I'm talking to. So it's really exciting, this project that we're kind of launching and getting off the ground. And I thought that the DBA would just be a great place. And Mary and I were talking as we're thinking about sharing recipes. We thought we would create what we're calling Hello Brockton food boxes. Allo Brockton, Hola Brockton, Oi Brockton, Ciao Brockton, all of the different languages that the community speaks, and share recipes together and not just put them on paper, but really make it a living, breathing project, something that can continue, maybe not even through the end of the fellowship, but continue on an ongoing basis where people can break bread together and really create those bonds and have trust in one another and feel safe with one another. You know, trusting communities are safe communities. And we're concerned about safety for ourselves, for our families, for our businesses. And we thought, you know, thinking ahead and thinking big, right? Like, could this be a tourist attraction? I mean, Brockton is such a diverse community. That do people say, hey, let me go get my Haitian, you know, Allo Brockton food box. Let me get my Cape Verdean Oi Brockton food box. Let me get my Ecuadorian Hola Brockton food box. it was interesting, even during our session, one of my colleagues shared the story of a family recipe that they had passed down, the Haitian legume, which is, I didn't know, it's a vegetable eggplant-based stew. And she talked about how her mom would make this stew in huge quantities because she is the youngest of 8 siblings. And mom would go to work and she wanted to make it easy for the older brother to not, just take it out of the freezer and give it to the siblings. Now, I've been working with this young woman for almost a year now, and I didn't know this about her. So in talking about food and talking about sharing, I learned something completely new about my colleague. And so we created these recipe cards. I'll hold it up here. This one happens to be for Greek pasta salad. And so our idea is to have the dry ingredients available in the Hello Brockton box with the story, it's blank right now, the story of the person who shared the recipe on the back. I'm going to pause there. I've been talking. I do have an ask of you all, but I would just love to hear reactions, see if you have any questions about
Thanks,
the
Madeline.
project.
I do think this is a good place for us to do a hard stop, and I know that, as I mentioned, Joanne Zigman from my office, who worked with the Brockton area NAACP on the cookbook that they put out a few years ago, is on. So if open it up for, just raise your hand if anybody would like to speak. Oh, Ann Beauregard.
Well, I came by for a little while. I had the pleasure of talking to several people that I knew. I was very glad that, Madeline had done all this, and, I mentioned, and it was a great location to have it. I did mention to her several locations, one of them being Brockton, community access downtown, and then everyone could turn around. 1, there's parking. 2, there's an elevator if you're carrying a whole lot. And 3, there's that huge, space. And plus, it's an opportunity for, how would I say it, coverage, some coverage for people to see and what have you. Now, so it's, and I had the pleasure of meeting with Brittany also, and it was very impressive. And I'm sorry I came late, but if you highlighted Brockton Pharmacy, Frederick the pharmacist is the best.
Yes, he
Go ahead.
is. We did already. We're on that one. Thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Anyone else that?
Yeah, anyone else? Oh, Cindy.
Yeah, I'll just mention that that I did have the pleasure of attending for a short time as well, and it was so well put together, and the feeling in the room, the atmosphere that was created by having food be the thing that brings us together was just, it was just amazing. It was wonderful, and every table, that's what they were sharing, their food stories of their families, but also the food stories of Brockton. That's what makes Brockton so special. And so I just wanted to say thanks, Madeline. I'm so excited about this program, and I think it's going to do great.
Yeah, I'd love to see it be able to drive traffic downtown to the restaurants. I mean, there's just so much potential. Oh, Glenn, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was muted. Thank you.
I saw someone come off mute. But yeah, I know we have a lot on the agenda, so I won't, take up all the time here, but if anyone would like to, chat with me further one-on-one about the project, if you're interested in learning more, please put your name and contact information in the chat. I'll, kind of monitor that while other people are speaking. And, more than happy, I'd love to just extend an invitation to all of you to be involved with this and just see what we can build together. It feels like a small step, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts
That's
with a single
right.
step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Madeline, one of the things that I mentioned, so I believe, if I'm correct, in the documents that we had in that I sent out in advance of this meeting, as well as information, your contact information is also on that. Is that correct?
I don't know that it's on that specific document, but I will put it in the chat.
Okay.
And I'll put a
So-
link to a contact form, a Google form that you could also use to sign up if you want. But it may just be easier to put your name and contact information in the chat, and then I can just reach directly out to you or have
Right.
someone from the team do that.
That'd be great. So Madeline's also gonna, so this is not just a downtown Brockton, it is across, getting her on, sending her introductions to Montello and Campello as well. You know, certainly Brockton is the focus, and just love the idea and appreciate you coming on, Madeline. So
Thank you for the invitation. It's been great to talk with you all. Thank you.
I do not see any other hands at this point. Thank you again, Madeline. We are next going to be bringing in Kyle to talk about the Brockton Urban Heat Mapping Campaign. That is with Brockton and Abington and Whitman?
And Avon.
Avon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
Kyle,
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Kyle Holden. I'm the conservation agent for the city of Brockton. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of go over what the heat mapping campaign is all about, and then go from there. So I guess to begin with, we are partnering, the city of Brockton is partnering with the two aforementioned communities, Avon and Abington, along with Manamet and Wildlands Trust to manage and kind of spearhead this heat mapping campaign. And so what this is kind of entails is the target is to kind of drive around those three communities on like the hottest day or one of the hottest days of the year. The target date currently is July 29th. So that's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And so what this entails is we will be having volunteers drive around 5 predetermined routes around these communities, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then a separate set of routes in the evening. And so the idea is we will be generating a temporal heat map of these communities throughout the day to see how heat affects, you know, the cityscape throughout the beginning to the end of the day. And so that's kind of the idea that we're going with. So we're still actively recruiting volunteers for this project. We had a training session last on I think it was Monday this week. I can link some information in the chat after I get done here. We have a volunteer interest form that I can post there. Then you're also free to reach out to me at conservation@cobma, as is listed there on the flyer that's up. And I can ask, I can provide you with any additional documentation or answer any questions that you have. After all this is finished, the data that we generate will be publicly available probably a couple months, 6 weeks, 2 months after we finish everything. So that's kind of basically what we're going with. Yeah, so just interested to get any feedback from anyone here. And if you are interested in volunteering, let me know and we can get you signed up.
So Kyle, we've had the hottest weather over the last 3 weeks.
Right.
But again, thank you for coming on and explain. Does anybody have any questions? Just unmute yourself if you do. Joanne, go right ahead, please.
Hi, folks. Joanne Zigmund from OCPC. I just wanted to throw in there that the data from this project, OCPC is also a partner on it. The data from this project is going to be really useful. Abington's going to be doing an open space plan, so they're going to use the data within that process. And also Brockton and Avon are working on a whole bunch of projects to improve and revitalize DW Field Park. So the information will feed into those processes as well. So what comes out of this will actually be intentionally used within our region too, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Joanne.
I guess my question then would be, does one have to attend a training session to participate, or can you show up that day?
Yes, so thank you, Mary. So yeah, there is a training session that's required. It basically involves watching about a 20-minute video, and then you can fill out kind of a waiver, just that you're not going to sue anyone if you get in an accident as you're volunteering. And then there's also a quick, 10-question questionnaire that you have to fill out after watching the video, just to make sure that you didn't sleep through it. But yeah, it's a very low bar to get involved, but you do need to sign up ahead of time to make sure that you go through the training session before we actually have the event, which is scheduled again on the 29th of July. And the rain date, assuming that there is weather that complicates things, is the following Saturday, August 5th. And then if that also gets canceled, then we will deal with that as it comes. All right, we have another question from Glenn.
Yes.
Kyle, do you have the predetermined routes already established? Is that something you could share with me?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so
So
much.
we do have the routes are already kind of published. This is kind of pending road closures and everything, but the routes are published. If you want to just, could you send me an email and I can just respond, and it's just basically a link that I can share with you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Okay. Yep. Great. Thank you.
Great questions. These are all why we have these meetings, so we can share information, let people know about it, and continue to, right? This is such an important aspect of, just in terms of the heat. I know that last year, the local newspaper did an article about the heat, what do you call it? The heat desert? What were they
Yeah,
calling?
something-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and I know that with the developments that have happened, they've made a great effort in terms of really made a great effort in terms of reaching out and developing and working and finding green space. The green space, I know that has been part of the downtown revitalization plan, is really an important part, because people want a place just to, not have their lunch inside. They should be going outside, which again, will take up the issue of safe places in the downtown would be important, but again, having the green space and having it then know where they are. And so thank you, Kyle. I do not see any other questions, any other.
And I just want to point out, John just posted the routes in the chat. So that link there will take you to like just a map of all the 5 planned routes for the city.
Great, great. Thank you, Megan, for sharing that. So let me ask this question, like, where are you in terms of how many more volunteers do you need, Kyle?
So we have enough, but the problem is some volunteers are able to do multiple routes throughout the day, and we have enough. And there are, thankfully we have a lot of people that are willing to do all 3 routes. But the first route starts at 6 in the morning. The last route ends at 7 in the evening. So that's a big commitment for people to kind of, give us their entire Saturday. So if we have more volunteers, we can kind of lower that individual burden on each volunteer. So maybe they only have to do 1 or 2 routes rather than all 3. So I mean, we're fine. I think at this point we will get the data collected one way or another, but any additional volunteers that we have can kind of lessen that burden on each one. So that's kind of where we are at this point.
So I would recommend, like what I'm doing here at OCPC, and Joanne's going to help work with Megan from my office, is that if I have a staff member who is volunteering an hour, I will be giving them time off, maybe even something else as a little incentive for coming in on a weekend. So I would recommend to our property owners and business owners who may be on, good incentive, maybe even from City Hall to do something like that, right? It's anyway. Since you have enough, we're going to do our part in terms of incentivizing our employees, and feel that because not only all 3 communities are within our OCPC region, but it's also something that's really important to downtown Brockton, to all of Brockton. So Kyle, and in your work, I know how long you've been on the job now, Kyle?
I started in April, so just a few months still.
Well, great job, and we look forward to working with you, and perhaps maybe you can come back when all of this is done and maybe report out some of the information.
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
So we'll keep that as an agenda item. Any other questions for Kyle? Nope. If there are, put them in the chat, and his contact information, as he said, is there. Thank you, Kyle.
All right, yep, thank you.
I am going to skip over the government because I think I'm waiting for Counselor Thompson. He's not, he's tied up, he's got a client. Anyway, Brockton PD is unable to, Derek Simone had contacted me saying that they're going to be having directed patrol start again. He hears from me quite often because, well, I mean, you'll see it sometime a little bit later on in today's meeting, but there has been an increase, and I know that Jasmine is still on, so I know Jasmine will give opportunity for you to weigh in as well. But as it relates to Brockton Police Department, Derek is unable to attend today, but again, stepping up some directed patrols. Again, the underpasses, but it's not just only the underpasses, and as we're hearing about activity all around the way. So, so on that note, what I do want to go on to next, I'm going to skip to the coffee caring and community at Elvera's. Sandra Martin, yep,
Yeah.
thank you. And I got chatting a couple times, and she's going to be doing Mondays with property and business owners, Monday mornings. She's not open on Monday, but she's going to do a Monday from like 8 a.m. to 9:30. It will be a kind of an open house for the downtown property owners and businesses to come in, talk about issues, look to strategize. Kadi Macarinas and I met yesterday and just talked a little bit about taking the information that we have back in 2020, 2019, I forget now. We did a focus group, the DBA did a focus group where we had about 100 people come in throughout the day, did a SWOT analysis. You know, different issues, different topics have come up. So we're really going to be looking to strategize, to take some of these issues on. And again, not be the complainer or the person with the squeaky wheel, because I think I'm tending to do a lot of that lately. But it really is coming with at least raising an issue, knowing that it's just not only OCPC or the chamber or Elvera's, that it is an issue that is across the downtown, and giving the ability for a voice, and then working with government, police, and others to find some solutions. I think it's important, and I like that it's somewhere in that variation, the coffee caring community or coffee community and caring. But the point is it doesn't usurp what the DBA does or will do. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the forefront of this is that we do not have staff. I'm really lucky to have, in fact, I think it didn't make it on the agenda, Megan, I just remembered one of the items was in fact to really get people to sign up to be part of the executive committee. I have done it several times. I've done it through social media. It's been on these meetings, looking for members to be part of an executive committee. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be me.
For DBA.
I'm talking about for the DBA.
Yeah,
This is DBA meeting.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Just wanted.
Not Old Colony Planning, that's a
No,
whole,
no, but I
that's
just
my
wanted-
paying job, Ann.
No,
But for the
just-
DBA is to really look for folks to be joining. The
How many
Downtown
do you
Brockton Association, it's in our bylaws, those bylaws are on our website. As I
Okay.
mentioned, this has been brought up before in
yeah.
the past.
No, okay.
Paid memberships are really going to be important. If you're not paid membership, you're not on the executive committee. It just can't be that way, because this is a membership organization, and it does take time. So we'll be putting, thank you very much, Megan. And if I'm correct, if it's not done right now, perhaps in the chat, but then we'll send the link out there's a form that Amanda Glennon had prepared for folks to sign up to be part of the executive committee. So that is helpful to sustaining this organization, but also to growing it. So why I bring that up, because there is a need and the business community is coming. And so we'll be, Sandy's going to determine whether it's the first or second or third Monday, but it will be a consistent Monday morning discussion at Elvera's. She does incredible work. Her coffee is delicious. Her tea is delicious. Her food is there. And she has certainly put her time in terms of making a go of a small business. There we go. Thank you. And thank you, Amanda, for putting it in the link. So we'll get these both shared. Amanda and Megan, the team together, that's literally behind the scenes, what they both do for the DBA, for me personally, but also for the DBA. I can't thank them enough. Again, no one gets paid for any of this that we do. And I'm lucky where my board, my Old Colony Planning Council board knows what I'm doing, and know that because we own our portion of this property is that they feel that it's an investment. So that's so stand by. This is not this is really property owners directing the agenda. So So I look forward to those meetings and just another way for us to, again, stay engaged with each other. I do want to be able to bring up maybe Amanda on the holiday parade planning committee. She is taking a little bit of a step, not back, not away, but she's working, we're all working together as a team. A lot of us have had some personal family things happen in our lives, and it's a lot in maintaining life as itself. So, so Megan, thanks for bringing this up in terms of the parade and celebration parade committee. Amanda, do you want to chat?
Yeah, so just to check in, so we've had some new folks, put themselves out there to sign up for the committee, which is great. But still, I think not to the level that is possible. So the goal here is to have folks from all around Brockton, all different sort of connections to the city, just so that we have a really cohesive group of folks who want to learn what goes on behind the scenes to be able to keep this tradition happening. So if you've not been to the holiday parade, or if you've not been involved in any of the planning previously, I welcome you to get involved. You're going to meet a lot of great folks. There's a lot of great opportunity to get connected to other organizations and other businesses, plus a great opportunity to get really connected to your city and give back. We had a huge turnout last year. Over 5,000 people showed up to downtown Brockton to make the day possible. We had a lot of great new activities. We'd like to see that same energy this year, but with even more folks. It's not possible without volunteers. And yes, it is time consuming and it is difficult, but the payout is great. And it's not one person, it's a team of folks. We invite you to come learn more, come to a meeting, have a conversation with one of us and we can tell you more about it. So there is a sign up. I just dropped the link in the chat too, and Megan has it up on the screen. So right now we're seeking folks who are just willing to be part of the committee. So just very light information here. Are you able to come to meetings? How do you like to meet in person or virtual? We'll get your information. We'll stay in touch with you. As we progress closer to parade date, which will be the 25th of November. I know Megan just had the little advert with the QR code pulled up. We'd love for you to be there in any capacity. Of course, we need great folks to volunteer to plan, but we also need great folks the day of. So if you know that you can make a contribution in any way, shape, or form to help make this day a success, I encourage you to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know Mary, Megan, like everyone, Cindy, who's been doing this with us consistently, ask us, we'll tell you. So we'd love to see some more folks sign up. If you know a friend who's interested, bring a friend, but great opportunity here to give back to your community and get to know some new people.
Amanda, thank you. Maybe I might suggest that perhaps we can get these flyers translated into different languages.
Yep.
And I know that what we did was I sent an email out to Superintendent Thomas before school got out. It was a day before, but still was trying to get to the fact that the parade's going to be going on. We will be giving each of the Brockton schools, New Heights will be included on that as well, funds to help decorate a float. The bottom line for the holiday parade is about families and young people and about our children and youth, all the great things that are happening, our community groups. But we really want to be able to have this be as inclusive as possible, and to Amanda's point and to the others, the volunteers, just like what we talked about with Kyle, right? And just what Madeline talked about, it takes volunteers. We need to figure out ways how to bring in new volunteers and embrace them and help them and bring a hand. And whether it's 1 hour to help a month or whether it's 1 hour a year, that's a volunteer that we certainly want at any time. So holiday parade, any questions about that? This is really about getting folks to sign up to volunteer. We will be posting, we haven't really come up with a solidified date of when we're gonna be having the meetings to invite folks to come along to those meetings. But I will say that the format's gonna change just a little bit. At the end, oops, who's calling in? Oops, anyway, I'm not sure who's calling in. Anyway, what I was going to say is that we're not going to be doing a tree lighting at the end of the parade, just because when the folks are done with the parade, they all scatter, and volunteers that we've had from 7 o'clock in the morning are exhausted, and it's up, and I need to have some communications with, obviously the mayor on that, but thank you, Amanda, and I know that, again, the forms are in the, you put them in the links, and we will be sending that out when we do a summary of this meeting, so having for those that weren't able to attend today, so thank you. Holiday parade. I would like to go back to the government, segment, and Megan, I know this is where kind of the things where we talked about. I'm going to bring Jasmine in on this. I do want to be able to acknowledge and thank Jasmine Bradshire. She really has been responsive. Many folks, and I just wanted to tell you, like, my shoulders drop because it makes me sad of my community here in downtown. But that I've been finding an increase of needles. Thank you. There we go. When you find a needle, don't pick it up, call the hotline. I found a needle out this morning. Yeah, I know. I wish I didn't have to have these pictures, but this is just today. And I am, again, my heart goes out to the community of the human beings that are suffering through this heat, as well as for the issues of being unhoused and or for substance use. I want that just clear as can be. But there are, it was one of the times early in the year where Jasmine invited me to her homelessness task force, and I know Cindy was on it as well. And the comment was made, right? Those of us that are work and have business or organizations, we're the first responders, and that's not being disrespectful to the police department or fire department, but we're the ones who are on our way into work or on our way home. It is a matter of really importance. And so, just last week, there was a matter that there was a dumpster that got broken into, and folks got in there and ended up having the dumpster removed totally, which to me isn't also the answer, but it's a reality. But I want to just give Jasmine some time here and opportunity to talk about things. And Jasmine, I think the one thing you and I need to still have is a fact sheet that we can put on the DBA and share with our membership about what to do and what not to do. So Jasmine, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've actually started putting that sheet together, so I have some contacts on there, and I can solidify that. I just have to confirm if a few places are okay with us advertising some of their services that they kind of don't really do on a regular basis, but have said that they can help with. But as far as needle pickup, there is the hotline. There's also the COPE Center through BAMSI. You can call them and they will go out same day, and they will assist in picking up and disposing of the needles so that you guys don't have to worry about it yourselves. Something that we have been seeing a lot is obviously there are a lot more people outside during the day and also sleeping outside at night. I am doing regular outreach. We try to go out at least every other day during the week to check on people, if needed, to move them along from the places they are staying, if they are in like a public space. We are seeing more and more people coming from other cities and towns as we, so Father Bill's is housing people very quickly, as quickly as they can. It's actually been a pretty large number. I think it's up in the 80s just this fiscal year alone so far, since January up until July. But it seems like every time they house someone, a couple more show up from somewhere else. So it has been a challenge in that sense. We have gotten a lot of good responses from people when we go and do the outreach. People are pretty cooperative as far as moving their stuff along. You do have the few people that occasionally are not, and then we require police presence the next time we go out to talk to them. The police have been great as far as working with us on that. Just, if you're having an issue with someone in your, near your business, in the area where you're living, anything that you're just seeing, please feel free to reach out to me. I did put my information, my email, and my direct desk number in the chat. And I would be more than happy to add that to my list of places that I will check on a weekly basis. We're just, trying to see what we can offer people for services. We go out with a large resource list that we have for them and try to connect everyone to whatever we can, whatever they're looking for. Unfortunately, it's not something that's going to change as quickly as we would like. But we are working on it. If anyone's ever interested in tagging along for some outreach, just to kind of get an idea of what we do and the places we're going, I'd be happy to coordinate that with you. And if there's ever an issue, I am also trained to pick up needles, so I can also stop by and grab them. I do have the containers and equipment behind my desk. But I am here for you guys in whatever sense you might need. So please feel free to reach out, and don't ever worry about like inundating me with like stuff or things to do. I have no problem adding it. But yeah, I would say just, reach out so that we are aware of what's happening, because I don't always know unless someone tells me about it.
Right, Jasmine, thank you. I think this is a great venue for you to be part of and to talk about the things. So a couple of things. So Chris Cooney had mentioned something to me, and I've done it myself, where really careful about, I take 2 containers and making sure I don't touch the needle, but I put it and I wrap it in like duct tape and then dispose of it. And I know Chris said he gets the needle, picks it up with the claw or however, and then puts it into a glass bottle. So are we doing it right? Are we doing it wrong? Do we not do it? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is making sure, obviously, you have no contact with the physical needles themselves. A lot of people just buy rubber coated tongs from like your average grocery store or Walmart, and those are fine to pick stuff up. You can get boxes from places like the Cope Center to dispose of them so that you have them on site. And then when they're full, you can actually bring them back and they'll dispose of them for you, if you're interested in just having it for yourself. If not, I actually have some of the boxes that generally go on the fence in Perkins Park, so we will be replacing those. But inside are the really large red boxes, so I can always come pick them up for you, and I can do that same day, so that's not a problem. We are seeing an increase every time we get reports. There were probably 200 or so the other day in one spot. So we're kind of trying to work on making sure that when people are getting needles from the varying locations that give them out, that it is an even exchange, so that there isn't just a ton of them laying around. But the biggest thing, gloves, make sure you don't touch the needles directly. If there's ever a concern because you do not see the tip left on the needle, I would say leave it where it is and reach out to me, and I can come remove it, just because we want to make sure that we get the tip off of the ground as well.
Those are all really great guidance, because I think the one I had saw today did have a tip on it, and I part of me was, oh gosh, like, again, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to see it off, and off the sidewalk, and again, being careful about it. And then I'm not sure, like, does it, anyway, we're getting down a path, but I think the idea is when we do get that fact sheet, we will share it widely. I'll have even, because not everybody is a DBA member, not everybody is on this, not everybody watches our YouTube, but I'd be willing, as I continue to go door to door with doing some of the other work on the Business Improvement District, that certainly can share that flyer and have people have it posted in their building. Again, is that an image of downtown that we would, want? But I think the idea is that we certainly don't want those needles on the ground. And if we're seeing them in such public places, I can just imagine where they may be in places that may not be so public. And so the goal really is to provide a safe environment. And, the next step is having that discussion like you have for your homelessness task force, to have further discussion about how to, staying ahead of it is probably not the right language to use, because it's never really staying ahead of it. But it's reacting and again, just to underscore how responsive you have been to my emails. And I guess the other thing would be is, so like what I did when walking up the street, I was like, oh, I found, this, and mentioned to Chris, like sometimes letting some other folks know, the chamber has their building, we have ours, but yet, as Chris said, oh yeah, he found quite a few last week. It's just more of a matter of maybe just a quick email to you, Jasmine, just to say, hey, we just found these, just more just an FYI, knowing that they've been addressed, may be helpful.
Yeah, because then when I
and-
do outreach, I'll make sure to check those areas more thoroughly.
Good, good. And then, and I know you have put the offer out before, but, you know, for anybody on this meeting, are they invited to the homelessness task force, or is that, okay? So, remind me again what days they are, and then we will also promote that if anybody wants to join. They're really informative for anybody who hasn't joined.
Sure, so they are every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. And I can add the information into the chat here. But if you reach out to me after the fact, I can also just add you to the invite and you'll get them going forward.
Great, thank you. And when I do tend to attend, usually I come a little late and then I have to leave early because of other meetings, but the information that is there, I certainly will share with you, Jasmine, and perhaps, you know, as we move forward with our meetings, and when those caring community meetings, Monday mornings, get established, I would assume that would be probably a topic for the business and property owners. So, but again, how do we address the issue is most important, and working with Jasmine and the others, whether it's, you know, the Coke Center or others that are engaged. So, questions for Jasmine? I'm not seeing hands. If you have questions, just unmute yourself. I think we're good. Jasmine, once again, your information's all there. And, you know, I know that in the picture that Megan put up, and we don't have to share it, everybody has seen it, but, you know, so one of the things, it has been brought up once before with property owners, putting a no trespassing sign in your area. So here at my office on the Montello Street side, facing Cardoso's Cafe, we have steps that door really is not used, but that has been a place every morning that I do see. And I will say that I do see many people. If there's one day that, and I talked to Derek Simone about this, we see Brockton PD just drive by, and they're not doing anything because they're just sleeping. But at the same time, if I put up a no trespassing sign and then tell them, then they're trespassing. So I need to put a no trespassing sign on that area. I encourage for those who are property owners who are on, in fact, to put no trespassing sign. I will tell you that each of the day this week, it's been someone new. I knock on the door between 7 and 8 o'clock before the rest of my staff show up, and I just say it's time to move on. And they've been pretty attentive to moving on, but the residuals of excrement and food and other things remain, and then I'm cleaning up. I now have to purchase a power washer for the office because it just cleans out that back stairway. And to be honest with you, that's not exactly what I would have thought about all the things that I need to do. Nor should I, but I think it's just stating what the facts are. And again, I'm not saying I need to just bring up the problem. Solutions need to be happening in a good, common area. And so, Jasmine, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or if there's thoughts that you might have for not only just myself, but for other property owners.
Yeah, so that's one of the bigger issues that we're seeing here. We've seen Boston talk a lot about it on the news. Cleanup when stuff like that happens is a challenge. A lot of times, if it's like a building, if there's any type of like rug or something, like we've had it happen here at City Hall, if there's needles or any concern for like blood or anything on it, we just throw them away. But as far as the actual surfaces, usually a little bit of bleach and hot water will take care of anything that you could possibly come in contact with. If there is any type of feces left or bodily fluids of some sort, I can get some information for you guys and add that to the fact sheet as far as how to best address that, or like people that might be able to assist in that matter. When we clear out encampments, if there's any biohazard concerns, we reach out to trauma services from Mansfield. They're a bit on the pricier side, but the idea is, they're in public places, so we don't want anyone to come in contact with any type of concern like that. But there are definitely ways to address it in a smaller manner for like people in like doorways and stuff like that. But Cindy mentioned in the chat that she uses a laundry detergent bottle for needles. Anything that's like a thicker plastic or glass is really good for stuff like that. Same with getting rid of any of those items. If you have like multiple trash bags, you can just throw them in there and then dispose of them. That'll be your best bet. The biggest thing is, you know, obviously don't touch your face after moving anything. But I'll get information and add that to the sheet for you.
Nope, that'd be great, Jasmine. Thank you. And I, again, multiple issues, but appreciate, and we'll get that fact sheet out and continue to have dialogue with you and others. So any last minute questions for Jasmine? Again, so great. Perfect. And the conversations in the chat continue. So, I know that I have Cynthia is on and talking about, I know we had an email and I'm not sure if it made the agenda, Cynthia, on, I know I put in something in the chat. Maybe if you unmute yourself, this is not Cynthia Pendergrass. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Hi, hello, everybody. I know it's another Cynthia, so it's always nice to see that. I don't see that often. My name is Cynthia Espinosa Moreno. I work for Health Resources in Action, and we're part of a project called Digital Power. We're actually working really closely with Rob May to help the city of Brockton create a digital equity plan. This is really looking at how to engage community residents and businesses like yourselves and leaders and everybody in Brockton to find out ways people access internet in the city, if they have accessibility to devices or even literacy programs. So our team has attended some event. We've been with the Juneteenth event. We're going to be in Brockton physically asking residents more about their access to internet. There is, as any planning purposes, there's also a survey. Part of this project is through the Massachusetts Broadband Institute. So the city of Brockton is creating their own plan for the city of Brockton. And at the same time, we're partnering with the state, who's creating a statewide plan on digital access. So it's a little, I don't want to make sure that I'm not confusing you all on that. So with that, there is an online survey that's available in 9 languages. I'm happy to share the link in the chat in a little bit. We also will have paper copies available. We can print them out, and we'll personally, our team will be in Brockton doing some surveying for residents that don't have access to internet, right? Because we want to make sure that people that don't have access we're the ones that hear from them of how they can access devices and computers. But we also are open and willing to make sure that paper copies are given to any businesses or agencies that want to have some paper copies there. Also, we encourage you all to be part of that survey process and give your voice and experience of how access to internet has worked with you or not, and more to come. The other part is, like I mentioned, the state of Massachusetts is also creating their own statewide planning. They have created a small grant program to have community-based organizations or groups get some funding to help do more outreach and engagement of their community. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. So groups can apply for either $15,000 to up to $40,000, a way to make sure that community members with lived experiences or target populations are able to be part of this whole planning process. I just threw a lot of words out there. So any questions so far? Rob, feel free to add anything if I missed anything on your end.
No, that was great. Thank you.
I was just going to say, the city planning office, Rob May, has been engaged on this for a long time. I know that there was an early on task force. And so, again, there aren't enough foot soldiers out there, people to really, again, the word volunteer and find time and get the word out, but getting the word out is really important. So if there aren't any other questions, Cynthia, thank you for placing that in the chat.
Yeah, and I'll add
Um,
the survey link. And again, this is a free service for the city. So the city's not paying for any of this engagement or nothing. We're offering it as part of the statewide program. And we're happy to make any way accessible to get the voices and information of people to join and be
Great.
part of this planning process.
Great, thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. And again, digital inequities, if you will, right? Not everybody has access to internet. We found a lot of that out when COVID happened, where many of our school children were not able, you can send home a laptop if you don't have access to internet, and knowing that through lots of different resources that was made available, but the inequities continue, and particularly in a community like Brockton and other gateway cities, it's imperative that we try to make effort for all to have that equal footing and access, right? Access to education, access to jobs. So thank you both to Rob and Michelle. You have a question? Oh, I can't hear you.
And let everybody, sorry, I had my microphone in. I wanted to let everybody know we're actually going to have a digital equity focus group here at the Council on Aging as well. We're trying to recruit participants for a focus group on Tuesday, August 8th from 1 to 2. And we're looking for 10 to 12 participants. And it will be published in our newsletter if people want more information. And that's something we would be able to share, of course, Rob, with you afterwards, after we get details.
So are there a series of focus groups that are planned on this topic?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. If I can briefly share, so we have a total of 5. We are partnering with the Haitian community partners to host one in Haitian Creole, one in Cape Verdean Creole, one in Spanish, one specifically for seniors, which is like the COA, and one for the general population. And we're looking to partner with United Way on that. We're also willing and open to partner with anyone. The state plan is hosting a community listening session. So this is more of an open meeting on Saturday, August 12th. And I'm happy to share more details with that with you, Mary, once it's finalized the location.
Perfect.
So that will, do you know, Rob, if the location got finalized? Not to put you on the spot, but we can share more details.
I do not. I don't
Okay.
know the location yet.
Yeah, but the date is Saturday, August 12th from 10 to 12. And that's open to the public, and we'll make sure that it's accessible in different languages and it's, in other ways.
That would be great. If you could share that when you do get that, and obviously we'll share it with our DBA listserv of about 300 something people.
Yeah.
So we'll get the word out. Particularly in the downtown, right? In terms of, I know that there's a lot of different things going on, but thank you, Cynthia, for being on and bringing up this. Michelle, you still have your hand up. Do you still have anything to chat about? That's okay. Questions, digital? I know we're running out a little bit out of time. I'm lost where I am on my agenda, but okay. Actually, Megan, can you just share? Let's see. There's upcoming events. So if we can just run through these. So these were all in the packet that was sent out to you on Friday. We will reshare this again. But again, the Manning Pool, I think it's really important to let folks know. Brockton After Dark is a program for young adults. These are the dates that they're and the places they're being located. Rain has been an issue. I know they've been get canceled. Summer nights at the Boys and Girls Club, really important, some work that they do. Farmers Market, will not ever forget about them. They're right here at the City Hall Plaza, and the vendors and the fresh food. Certainly from 11. Is it just from 11 to noon?
No, I think that's some other kind of
No, Mary, this is there's an event that happens on Fridays. Every Friday there's an activity.
If I read through all of the packet, I would have known that, but thank you, Megan. Next is.
Yeah, that's one.
So it was an opening this past weekend, but throughout the summer, as you can see.
A lot of good things going on.
They are. So this is right over at Enzo Gallery and Artist.
That one was extremely well attended this weekend.
I heard it was. So we're going to, so again, this is an example of Brockton Arts isn't a member of the downtown, but we're going to promote because it's an important thing to promote, and they're here, but we are encouraging everyone to become a member. Keep going on. Next. The city of Brockton has concert series. It is not held in downtown. It's held over at Heights Crossing, but wanted to throw that in. And this one we couldn't find from the library, I think online, where I need to connect a little bit closer with the library and getting their actual flyer, but there's an author, it is passed. So that's something that already happened. That I sent that out in the packet last week for the weekend. And obviously there's some things, so follow the library and see where their funding's coming from Mass Cultural Council. These are all free events. That's the library's putting on. I think it's really important to acknowledge the work that they do. Next, Megan. Movie night at the park. These have been canceled because of rain, but keep an eye out for these events at DW Field Park. Next. The Rocks, that was Saturday. That was keep going. Though follow the Rocks, because there's always activity going on. That one is not free. That was last week, and there's poetry workshops as well. The Fuller Craft Museum is having, guided tour. Keep going. I know that there's some things that are coming up. Oh, right, the Equity Now and Beyond Equity Fair and Community Resources. That's Saturday, July 22nd. That's this weekend. I need better eyes on me here. Next. The Symphony, that's the Saturday at 2. Next. So Chris, I know you may want to talk about these. These were shared in the packet. There's particularly in the downtown, there are 2 pop-up series. First is coming up July 26th at Ann's Place. Chris, are you still on? It may not be, but it is at Ann's Place. The chamber is a member of the DBA, so thank you for being a member, Chris. And then the next one, the Cape Verde Festival is coming up July 30th. So keep that date available and get in touch. Then August 2nd is the second pop-up in the downtown at Brockton Beer. And next, Wellness with We Care. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Megan. August 6th. Again, these were in the packet, and there's opportunity to sponsor, but they were in your packet. Please take another look at it. There's a senior picnic coming up on Wednesday, 16th. So I think I'm officially a senior, but for those, please contact Michelle or Janice Fitzgerald from the Council on Aging. They are a paid member of the Downtown Brockton Association. There is a second annual, this is from the Brockton Police Department, the second annual First Responder Community Jamboree. This is way too tiny for my eyes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, August, this is August. Is that 20th? Thank you.
Yeah.
August 20th.
Okay.
So, again, the Brockton Police and the school police together in terms of some fun activities for young adults. Again, Brockton PD and young adults connecting together. So thank you. Calling vendors. This is for Brockton Interfaith on August 26th. Again, these are in your packet about how to become involved. So Shanette Sam is putting this on the Brockton Youth Family. He is looking for sponsors. The DBA will be sponsoring. This is to get backpacks into young adults. I believe he said it's about 700 backpacks. And he still is looking for sponsors. I met with Jeanette on Saturday, and otherwise it comes out of his own pocket, but he does this because, again, these are free haircuts and school supplies and basketball games and free food with DJ. So this packet is in. This was in your packet as well, but feel free to share it on your social media. I believe most, if not all of these are on the DBA social media. If not, we'll get them up, and please plan to share those. Then resources. I do want to be able to say that there is lots of road work that's been going on. Notification has been challenging. I won't say bad, it is challenging. And it is one of the reasons why if I'm asking you for either cell phone or for emails, please provide them to me because it's easier for me, again, with no staff, for me to send out a group text to a group of you to say, hey, Legion Parkway is closed today. But in this scan for updates, it does lead you to the DPW, the city's DPW department has a page dedicated for construction updates. They do update it every day. I will also tell you, I mean, there's been days that I decide to take my bike to work because trying to get in and around downtown can be challenging, and that's not to make, I mean, progress is needed. Wastewater liners were what was being put in Legion Parkway. It's important that that work is done. So then there is, you know, so again, lots of work that needs to be done, whether it's the, you know, National Grid, so we don't have any manhole covers being blown up, right? It's all important. We're just needing to find better ways of communicating. So Commissioner Hill and I have been chatting. Thank you, Megan, for bringing up. This is the link. It is right on the DPW. Megan, if you can also put this in the chat as well, if you haven't done so already. But we'll send this out. I believe it's on our social media. Please follow the Instagram and our Facebook page. It's important to say that we stay in communication. So it's not perfect. We need to make some further improvements. There's gonna be more construction coming in the fall, so it's even more important that we stay connected. Ideally, I would like to just send out an email and then a text message and everybody gets notified, and that's probably the best way to do this. So road work, what else is next, Megan? So this is right, so these are picking up needles, and before we get on to Ann, so it was a week ago, Monday, that for those who didn't know, there was a shooting on Main Street at the courthouse. It was unnerving to say the least for many. I have some new staff members who were here, some interns and from out of town, and unfortunately it provided a challenge, but the most important piece was that there was a public safety matter. Not everybody received a phone call on notifying to stay in place or shelter in place. And I think that became, again, a way that it could be communicated with the DBA getting a notification, and, you know, a text message can go out. The system has to be perfected. As what was said, you know, hopefully that will never happen again. Their hope is, but one would have thought that would never happen. There was one of the shooters had fled, and literally 25 police cars flying in and around the downtown area on a rainy day, to say the least. And thankfully they were able to find them. The Brockton Police Department did incredible work, continues to do incredible work. But we have to figure out a way of better notification. And I did send an email to the mayor and to the police chief and to, I forget who else there was, police, anyway, and to the ward counselor on this. And we will be looking to set up a meeting with property owners about all of the topics that were talked about today. So I appreciate everybody. We're way over on our time. I know we're losing some folks, but that is an important issue. So Ann?
Yeah, well, I had just two more announcements with that. August 5th, you'll probably get the flyer any day now, is the midsummer at Salisbury Park, right next to Pulp Academy. Again, that's one of these free fun days for the kids, put together by Nancy Kushas, Bill Hogan, several others. And also this Sunday, it's not quite downtown, at First Evangelical Lutheran, there was a concert, okay? And this is what I want people to hear. This has been sponsored by a grant by the Martin Richards Institute at Bridgewater State University to address social concerns. And it seems like that covers a whole lot of everything. And this is at 3 p.m., free concert, but
What date?
Sunday, I'm sorry, the 23rd, July 23rd. But I did want people to know that, and want to emphasize too, Cultural Council, people see, it says Mass Cultural Council, it's each local cultural council. There's one in Brockton. The grants become available Friday, September 1st, all online. And no, you don't have to be a nonprofit. You can be an individual that chooses to do something, or a group, etc. Because sometimes people are confused about that. And they support a diverse group of activities. And I just, I wanted to emphasize that. And again, Mary has brought it up in last month. It was our guest, your guest was
Ginny
Yes.
Mahoney, yeah.
Yes, so I want people to realize, and then they end on October like 15th, but September 1st comes way too fast.
And I believe, Megan, did we put this in the packet?
I wasn't sure if you did. I
Yeah.
have one in my.
So we'll make sure, and Ann, if you can send along to Megan and myself, the flyer for the Sunday
Concert, sure.
concert,
All
that
right,
would be
yeah, I'll
helpful.
write that one down too.
So
No
we're down to the wire, well, we're over the wire. And I don't know if there's any other folks. I know Kadi is on this, and Al DiGirolamo, just again, a thank you to the senator for his support. The DBA finally got its SAM's number. It's a federal designation for unified identifier number. And so now we're able to finally get our budget and send it into the state for our $50,000. But I also just want to put a note and just a quick moment. So Shalia Gilmer from Black-owned Brockton lost her sister suddenly yesterday. It was her older sister, but it was, I just want everyone to keep Shalia and her family in your prayers, and we send our deepest sympathy. So we will be sending something from the DBA because she's been a big part of what we do in the downtown Brockton. So, but Megan, thank you for bringing these up. Just some congratulations, shout outs to Cynthia and the Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association. While I was not able to be there, I know that Amanda represented the DBA in the reading. Cynthia and others did a great job. So thank you. Congratulations for that event. It was a hot day. The groundbreaking for this is on the Council on Aging, as well as these with ARPA funds that the city received. Also, congratulations next, Megan, on the public safety building. I had a 5 o'clock meeting, so I was unable to make it at that time, but again, it was another hot day. Congratulations again to Trinity Financial on their ribbon cutting of their they had waiting lists. The waiting list, you guys, the waiting list for these housing are in the thousands. Again, Impressa is the name of the phase 2. So congratulations to Trinity. Next. Oh, and the others are the upcoming events. I did it in backwards, Megan, but if there are none other, I know we're losing folks. Anything else anybody like to add? So we are scheduled for an August meeting. Again, stand by for who we're going to bring on guest. If anybody would like to speak, please send an email to the Brockton DBA at Gmail email address. And Kadi, did you have anything to add? I know we chatted yesterday. Oh, your grants. But you have a grant program that the applications are in and decisions are going to be made soon. And you may be coming to the August meeting to ask for other businesses who might have an interest, right?
Correct, because we might be receiving additional funding. So we might be looking to open another round of applications very soon.
Perfect, thank you. And Kadi is from the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, just in case. So with that, I know we're losing folks. Appreciate all for being on here, and the recording will be out, some notes and some additional flyers will be sent out, and wishing everybody a cool day today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Bye-bye.